Ben Fagan here with another episode of Career Cash the podcast. And on this episode, I am joined by the City of Boca Raton's Communications and Marketing Manager, Marie Connolly. On this episode, Marie and I talk about how to find your way in the marketing industry, how to take advantage of opportunities that come your way, and why it's important to find work that fulfills you. It's an awesome conversation. Let's get to it. Well, I'm very excited, like I am for just about every show. We're seeing a theme here. We're into season two, well into season two now. And I have Marie here with us today. So, Marie, welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, like I like to start, just bringing context to everybody listening in. I think it's just always a good place to start. Can you kind of catch us up as to what you do on a day-to-day basis? And then we'll kind of backtrack from there, how you got there, where you're going. So, what are you up to these days?
So I am the communications and marketing manager for the City of Boca Raton, where obviously Lynn University is located. I have a team of four, including myself, and we provide public information to residents, college students, businesses in the area, keep everybody up to date on what's going on in their city. And every day is different. We could be talking about construction projects that are happening or turtle releases, or even like emergency notifications when we have a hurricane that comes through. So we kind of do a little bit of everything, but the main priority is just keeping the public informed.
So, being in this is a relatively new role for you. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
And so being in the marketing, but marketing itself is not a new industry for you.
yes,
And
correct.
so what was it about marketing? Was that something that you always kind of gravitated towards? Where did that kind of interest come from? Was it something in school? Where did that first start for you?
So when I came to Lynn, I came on a softball scholarship, and I wanted to stay in sports. So I thought that I wanted to be in sports broadcasting. So I majored in journalism. Yes,
That's
exactly.
what I majored in, so
Yeah,
shout out to
exactly.
the people.
Look at us. But then when I did a couple of I guess video interviews on camera, I was like, oh, I don't think I want to do this. I like being behind the scenes. And it was actually Professor Carlin's class where I think now it's the Pulse Agency. But we did like a mock PR agency in the class and understood like what it's like to run a PR agency and work with a client and everything. And that's where my love for PR and marketing came into play. And after that, I was hooked. So that's how it all started.
So when you were making that switch from journalism more to the PR side, was that something in like you were working towards being a sports broadcaster and everything there? Was that something that, was an easier transition for you? Was it, going back to that time and kind of thinking how you were making that transition? What was that like when you were going through that and kind of discovering this new interest?
I think it was fairly easy because with the multimedia journalism, it was a lot of writing, a lot of public speaking and things of that nature. And I still am able to do that in my current field and in the different fields that I had career opportunities in. So it really wasn't that much of a transition. It was just more so that I was behind the scenes instead of in front of the camera, which I came to really enjoy.
So I think, from doing a bit of research on you, I try to come prepared.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, nothing too crazy. We didn't dig too deep. But you always strike me as somebody who takes advantage of the opportunities, that are presented to you, whether it's throughout your time at Lynn or beyond. So can you kind of talk about that? And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong if that's not who you are, but that's the vibes you give off. You know, what is your approach to taking advantage of your opportunities, and how has that set you up for your professional career moving forward out of college?
Awesome. You're stealing my thunder, by the way, 'cause that's what I was gonna leave off with, but it's a good intro. But um, I really think that's what got me to the place that I'm in today. And that's what I tell everybody that, I speak to about their career or, having conversations like this. Um, Having opportunities given to you, even if it's something that you're not really interested in. For example, I really didn't think in a million years, I didn't even know my current job existed. And it definitely wasn't something that I was passionate about or wanted to pursue because I didn't even know it was out there. and taking advantage of opportunities that Barbara and her amazing Career Connections team had provided, as well as all the professors and going to Boca Chamber events and everything, really opened up a plethora of opportunities. And I was like, you know what can go wrong? Like I think it's important to understand more so what you don't like and don't want in a career more than what you do, because you don't really know everything that's out there. So I really took advantage to understand, like, where do I want to see myself? I mean, I've worked in finance and marketing and I hated that. I worked for a PR agency and I loved that, but was kind of missing that public service piece that I really like. And then I found this position. So if that is one piece of advice I could give to anybody, is really just take full advantage of those opportunities that are given to you. And if they turn out, to be something, great. And if they don't, great. But you don't want to miss out on something that could potentially be your future career.
No, absolutely. And going through that process, and this was, a bit of a conversation that I had on the previous episode, was how do you go about balancing? There's going to be parts of your job that you don't like, even if it's your dream job. There's always going to be some parts of that. So how do you go about kind of balancing and understanding? Hey, is this something that I love the big picture of my job, and I just don't like this part of it, or maybe this isn't the right fit for me? How do you go about navigating that kind of realm?
I really think it's that cliche saying of, what is it about, going to work every day, that
Love
like
what
it's
you do.
not a job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I really think that holds true because, I love doing the public information piece, being creative, getting our story out, but the administrative side obviously is not not that fun. But like you said, in the bigger picture, in the grander scheme of things, when I come to work every day, I'm really passionate about coming. I want to come to work and I want to be here. So when it gets to the point where you're kind of dreading going to work, then I think, that's maybe when you should look for an additional opportunity. But if it's something that you love doing, you'll kind of grin and bear it and do what you got to do to get the not so fun stuff done. But yeah.
No, absolutely. I love that. That's what's so fun about having these conversations, because I would say, for the most part, if not all, I would go ahead and say all, that everyone I talk to really enjoys what they do and enjoys that, journey that they're on. So it's just really cool to hear those different kinds of stories there, like that too. So bouncing, but not bouncing, that's not the right term I'm looking for, but moving between careers, how do you go about speaking more industry focused in marketing? How do you go about building your career for marketing? So if I'm a current marketing student and that's something I want to get into, whether I'm in Pulse or taking those classes, and that's a career I'm interested in, what do I do moving forward from college, from graduation,
Mm.
to get to where I want to go?
I It's a good question because in marketing and PR, you literally can do it in any area. You could do it for education in schools and university. You could do it in the public sector and in government. You could do it privately. You could do an agency. So there's really medical. I mean, it's really endless, the opportunities. Personally, I did an internship with the Buzz Agency, which is it was small, but now they've grown tremendously. An agency, a PR agency in Delray Beach. And there was so many different clients that I was able to work with, that I was able to see, like, ooh, do I like this industry? Do I like nonprofit? Do I like for profit? So I think working for like an agency or doing an internship is so important, because then you can really kind of pick and choose where you like. And if you want to stay with an agency and be able to have that flexibility working with different clients, it's great. But it'll also give you that opportunity to really hone in on, whatever your interest or niche is.
Oh, definitely. And when it comes to marketing, and the work that you do, like you're saying, getting the messaging out, you obviously, working for the city, have some level of brand, what Boca looks like, or what Delray looks like, or what Florida looks like, right? And so how are you able to be creative in whatever box that you're in? Not necessarily saying it's a good thing, a bad thing, but just saying, hey, this is the identity that we have. But how are you still able to be creative in a realm like that?
Um, it's interesting because Boca, in the grander scheme of things, was always known as like a place where people would go to retire. But working, with the city and with all these other partner agencies that we work on, we're really reinventing the Boca brand. which is super exciting that I get to be a part of that opportunity. But we get to be creative in the sense that we're not really selling a product or a service to people. We're providing information on, especially to the taxpayers, obviously, that's first and foremost on this is where your tax money's going. This is how we're making this beautiful oasis of a city, a place to live, work, play, learn. So we get to be creative in taking, all the parks that we have, all the services we provide, all the fun events that we have, and be able to market that out to the public to say, this is everything. This is where your money goes, and this is how, the city is. So it's definitely a fun opportunity.
So what would you say working from your experience at, any of the previous, positions that you've held, have you feel has been the biggest challenge for you in terms of learning about the industry specifically?
Definitely it's finance. I'm not a numbers person. I went to school for communications.
Again,
Um,
right there with
so
you.
so definitely that but again, I'm very thankful for that opportunity because it showed me something that, even though it was a great place to work, it wasn't something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But yeah, I'm just not a numbers person and it just wasn't. And you can't be creative really. It's more like factual marketing and stuff like that. So it definitely wasn't something that I saw myself doing. So, but again, luckily I was able to have that experience to figure that out.
No, definitely. I think that's such an important point and something that we try to talk about a lot. I mentioned, on the show before is, and you said it, right on the head, is like marketing specifically is a massive umbrella and you could go
Mhm.
in so many different directions. And I think that's so important to know about yourself of saying like, okay, I studied this in school, so I'm skilled in this, but I really gravitate as a person to the black and white, having those formulas. Or I make my money in the gray areas. And know
Yeah,
about that about yourself because then you can and like I think what you're getting at too is saying that if you don't know that about yourself, taking these opportunities on, doing the internships, those types of things, so you can learn about that stuff, which is so cool.
for sure. For sure.
Definitely. So now we're kind of looking we went a little back, we're kind of present day, now we're looking a little bit forward. Okay, so what does that look like for you moving forward in your career? Where are you working towards um uh in terms of what you want to do, who you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah. It's so funny because I was talking to my husband and we both met at Lynn, and I was like, I just feel so old. Like it's been so long since we've been in college, but it's funny you say that. But honestly, I love it so much here, and I'm not just saying it because I currently work here, but this department is fair or division, I should say, is fairly new. It only started about 7 years ago when my current supervisor, she was tasked with building a communications division because they didn't even have one. Because it really wasn't as important back then to like talk about things on social and communicate with people in the local government world. So um, I'm happy that I'm able to kind of continue on and build this department into a bigger department and really do a good job at getting information out about Boca to people for to enjoy, but also to the greater audiences and all around the country and really showcase how Boca is an amazing place to come to school, to work, to live. Because I mean, I came here to go to school in Boca and I'm still here. I mean, I live in West Boca, which isn't technically considered the city, but it's become my home. So every day I come here and I'm like, I get to talk about my home and where I love to be. So I'm hoping that I can continue to build that brand and have everybody realize what a beautiful place we're all in.
I love that, and you can tell how genuine that is about the you loving what you do, and that's so cool. And we're not next to each other here, but I'm in Boca right now, and I can feel the energy,
I try.
exactly. You're doing a great job. So it's, I mean, we honestly covered a lot in a very short amount of time, which has been super exciting for me. And it is that time of the show where we are wrapping up and it's time for us to cash out, where you leave us with your biggest, most valuable piece of advice for the road. Time to cash out here. So, Emery, what do you have for us today?
And again, I know I love my cliches, but it really is all about who you know, not what you know. Obviously, getting an education is so important, but um, equally as important, gaining those relationships, building on those connections, taking advantage of every single opportunity because you really don't know what door it's going to open. When I took advantage of some opportunities through Barbara, and even before that with my professors and really trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, it's led me now to a career that I absolutely love and enjoy. And like I said, I never in a million years thought that I would be working for a city doing what I'm doing. So take advantage of every opportunity. Use all the resources that you have, your coaches, your professors, other students, chamber events if you have that opportunity. And especially, I can't talk, and not because I went there and I worked there, but the Career Connections team and Barbara, all of you guys do such an amazing job at placing students and giving them experiences and opportunities that you really will not get anywhere else. So I cannot stress that enough, to really just get a deep dive into what you think you want to do in your career and really explore those options with you guys.
I mean, that's a lot of value right there. That's all I gotta say about that. And if you're in Boca, you know what she's talking about, and if you're not, come visit. It's a beautiful place. Yeah,
Yes,
maybe catch up with Anne-Marie too and see all the
for
great work
sure.
she's doing. So, thank you so much for this. This was awesome, and I'm excited for all that's to come for you. So, great stuff.
Thank you for having me again.